What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, Season 8, Episode 8, Three Blind Wives. Let's get started with Nicole and Mahmoud. So, Nicole has told Mahmoud for the 50th time to leave, to get out of their apartment, and he left. He took a suitcase and he was gone. He was out of there. So now she feels bad about it because she says that she lives in a dangerous part of LA or something. So now she's really worried about Mahmoud and she's going to go out there to go look for him, right? Like the confusion between these two people, well, not even between these two people, the confusion with Nicole is just, it's crazy. She tells him to leave, then she wants him to come back, and then he comes back, and then she tells him to leave again, then she wants him to come back again. So now she's out there driving in the dark looking for Mahmoud. I'm not sure, I'm assuming Mahmoud had a camera crew with him, so he must have been easy to find, because I don't know how she was able to find him, even though he could not have gotten very far. I'm still like, how do you know which direction he took? Because he didn't know where the hell he was going. So the fact that she was able to find him was amazing within itself, unless he had, an entire camera crew following him around. So she finds him and she forces him to get back in the car. At first, he did not want to go with her. She kept on putting her hands on him, like, physically guiding him or physically leading him back to the car. And he was like, leave me alone. I just want to be by myself. Please go away. Please leave me alone. But, she was very insistent. And so she, gets him back into the car, and they get to the garage of their apartment building, and they're sitting in the garage, and what do you know, they're arguing. And he tells her, look, I just want some time by myself. Just give me a few minutes alone. So she says to him, well, I'm going to be standing outside while you're, having this time alone. Nicole says that she is not ready to let go or to say goodbye to Mahmoud. And Mahmoud, to me, seems really depleted. He seems extremely exhausted. Like he is physically, emotionally, and mentally tired of all of this, because they have done nothing but argue since he landed in Los Angeles. And, maybe to Nicole, this is like just another day for her, because she seems to be, very well, like she's energized, and she's, like nothing is facing her, while Mahmoud just seems really like, oh, he's like a wilted plant. He's just so depleted, and he's so physically like exhausted. You can see it in his eyes, you can see it in his face, you can see it in his body, that this man has reached the end of his line with this woman. So they get back into the apartment and they start like talking about how do they get here, and they talk about the fact that they're arguing about who wanted the divorce. She says, well, you're the one that mentioned divorce. And he says, well, you're the one that told me to get out. So they start arguing again, right? They argue about who wanted the divorce or who wants to get a divorce. They argue about the alcohol. He tells her, I'm not supposed to be around alcohol. And she tells him that she has the alcohol because sometimes she'll have friends over and her friends want to drink. And then she tells him that he's going to have to learn how to be a Muslim in America, meaning that you're going to have to accept certain things that you normally would not have to accept if you were living in a Muslim country. So then they argue about who's changed the most for the other. She talks about how she's compromised a lot for him. He tells her, I've compromised a lot for you as well. So they go back and forth on that. And Mahmoud tells her that he does not feel any type of love or respect from her, which I agree with him 100%, because the way that she talked to him in front of his friends, how she called him out of his name, how she cussed him out in front of her friends. And not only, it wasn't even just what she was saying, but how she said it, the tone in her voice, and the nasty look on her face when she was cussing out her husband in front of her friends. Like she was really, truly disgusted by this man. Like you can express yourself, you can say whatever the hell you want to say, but a lot of the times what makes it worse is how you say it. So if she was upset that he wasn't participating with the gathering of the friends and he just wanted to be in the room and she didn't like that, she could have gone into the bedroom, closed the door behind her, and had a private conversation with her husband. And then if he was still not willing to participate, then she should have just put a pin in it and be like, okay, I'm going to go back and entertain my friends. We're going to talk about this later, or we're going to talk about this tomorrow. And instead of, cussing him out and talking to him so nasty, like she couldn't stand the sight of him. So she also tells him that, he had promised her that he was going to adapt to this American lifestyle, and he has yet to do that, according to her. Mahmoud says that he is going to stay. He's going to stay with her for the next few days, and he just needs to think about what his next step is going to be. He doesn't know exactly what he wants to do with his marriage, with his life, etc. And Nicole says, well, you can stay here with me. I have no problem with that while you think things through. It's okay for you to stay here. You don't have to worry about getting a hotel or sleeping on the streets. I'm going to let you stay here in my apartment while we try to figure things out, but there are certain rules that we're going to have to follow. So she tells them that they cannot sleep in the same bed, and she tells them that there could be no arguing. Now, not sleeping in the same bed is not going to be an issue, but the not arguing part, when their whole entire relationship has been built on them arguing and bickering and fighting with one another, I don't know how they're going to do that. Even though they have supposedly called a truce so that they can figure out what they want to do with their marriage, I don't see how that happens. And I'm wondering if it was within this time frame that the cops were called. I don't know. But Mahmoud and Nicole need to be separate and apart. Like, they cannot be under the same roof with one another. These people are so volatile with each other. They cannot be under the same roof. They cannot be within the same zip code, the same time zone, the same hemisphere of the earth. They have to be like on completely opposite ends of the world for this marriage to even work. But seriously, yeah, they don't need to be together, period. They don't need to be married at all to each other. They just don't know. I don't know if it's like a chemical, like their chemical structure is just not working with each other. You know how some couples are just not chemically inclined. Like, I truly believe that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were not chemically matched. Like, I think their atoms and their nucleuses and their cells were just not meant to be around each other. And that's what I think about as well when it comes to Mahmoud and Nicole. It's just not the personalities, the way of thinking, their emotions, mentality, the way that their bodies are chemically reacting to each other. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. So, like I said, they cannot be around each other because they're going to end up either hurting each other. They're going to end up, one of them is going to end up in jail, or both of them are going to end up in jail, or worse than that. They just don't need to be around each other at all. So I don't know how it's going to work within this so-called truce moment when they're trying to figure things out. Moving on to Ashley and Manuel. So when we see them, they're still at the bar where Ashley's friend was doing like a spiritual reading on them. They got into that argument about trust, where Ashley said that she doesn't trust Manuel because he doesn't prove himself to be trustworthy. And Manuel was like, I don't know, I've never given her a reason to not trust me, and I need her to give me a little bit of breathing space. I don't have to report to her every single time that I make a move, and she needs to trust me more. And Manuel blames it all on Ashley's past relationships. He says, I don't know who's hurt her in the past, but whatever happened to her in the past must be influencing how she is treating me now in this relationship. So he's like, I'm a trustworthy guy. She needs to put more trust in me. She needs to have more confidence in me. And Ashley's like, he doesn't act, or he doesn't move like someone who can be trusted. Okay, so that's where they're like at this standstill. So then the next day, they're still in New York. They're in the Ashley's actually in the gym of the hotel that they're staying at, and she's working out, and she's telling us that particular morning Manuel had left to go have breakfast with a friend, and he did not tell her that he was leaving to go have breakfast with his friend. And so she woke up, didn't know where he was. I guess, I don't know if he was responding, if she was trying to text him or call him, and whether or not he was responding, but she was really upset about that. So she tells us, I'm not trying to control him. I'm just needing him to communicate more with me. All he had to do was just let me know, hey, I'm going to go have breakfast with my friend. That's all he had to do, instead of just disappearing on me. Well, she goes back into the room, and the atmosphere between her and Manuel is really, really, really tense. She wants him to tell her every single time he's going to go do something. And he says that if he would have told her that he was going to go have breakfast with his friend, she would have wanted to go. And he didn't want her to tag along. He just wanted to have time with his friend alone. And this is like a running theme between Manuel and Ashley. Manuel always brings up how he wants to do things or he wants to go places alone without Ashley. Like the whole trip of coming to New York. He had talked about how he wanted to come and see his family without Ashley. And Ashley insisted on coming along so that she could meet his family. He's mentioned this, a couple of times where he just wants to go and do things by himself without her. And she absolutely hates that. She sees it as like, you've already shut me out of your family. Like, I'm not even a part of your family. I don't know who your family are. You haven't introduced me to anybody. I haven't seen your kids, talked to your kids. And now you also want to shut me out with certain things that you want to do. So she feels like he's just trying to like push her out of his life completely. So when he told her that if I would have told you that you wanted, that I was going to go have breakfast, you would have wanted to come along. And he tells us that the reason why he didn't wake her up to let her know that he was leaving to go have breakfast was because his wife was still tired in the morning and he just wanted to let her sleep. That's how he says it. She sees it as completely differently. She's like, you just don't want me around. That's why you snuck out of the room, because you wanted to go spend time with your friend without me. And so they get into this argument. And when he said that, when he says, I just wanted to be with my friend alone, she was like, okay, I'm over it. Don't talk to me. Do not talk to me anymore. Stop talking to me. So he wants to leave. He wants to leave the room. And he asks her for his credit card or his debit card. And she's like, no, get away from me. Don't talk to me. I said, don't talk to me. And he's like, Ashley, I need my card. I need money. And she's like, no, get away from me. Get away from me. And so he ends up leaving without taking his card, I'm assuming. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, Manuel, why don't you have possession of your own card? Like, why is she carrying your debit card or your credit card? Maybe because, obviously he's not working. So maybe he doesn't have any money, and so whenever he uses his card, it's using her money. Maybe that's what's going on here. I don't know. I just didn't understand why he didn't have possession of his own card. So this is very reminiscent to me of Angela and Michael, where the American wife, and also Nicole, where the American wife wants to exude all of this control over their foreign husband. And like, and I kind of, with Ashley and Manuel, I kind of see both sides. Like, I understand that Manuel sometimes just wants to be away from Ashley because they spend a lot of time together. I'm not sure if Ashley works a lot outside the home, because I'm not quite sure exactly what she does. Something to do with, I don't know what she does. But it seems like they spend a lot of time together. And I can understand Manuel wanting to be away from her for a little while and wanting to do his own thing, just needing a break from her. But then again, I also see her side of the story where she's like, if you're going to go do something, fine. Just let me know what's going on. Just tell me that you're leaving to go have breakfast with your friend. But if Ashley is the kind of person that's like, if he tells her she wants to tag along, I can see him not telling her. If it's always like an issue or a fight, if he tells her, I want to go hang out with my friend, and she's like, well, I want to come along too. If it's always like that, I can see him not telling her. So I'm just not really sure if Ashley is being upfront and honest with us when she says that I'm not trying to control him. I just need him to communicate with me, and I'll be fine with him going out to do whatever the hell he wants to do. And as long as whatever he wants to do is on the up and up, that's a whole nother story. If whether or not Manuel is actually trustworthy, I don't even know. At this point, it seems like he is. He hasn't given me any reason to think that he may not be trustworthy. But I can see Ashley also feeling some kind of way because of the fact that he doesn't really include her in his personal life, like as far as like integrating her into his family. And I can see that bothering Ashley because she's his wife and she doesn't understand why I haven't met your kids after 10 years of us being together. How come, I can understand her frustration where it seems like he's trying to keep separate his marriage and his family, trying to keep them like two separate entities. I can see why she's frustrated with that. Manuel, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. Ashley's got you on that. It doesn't make any sense as far as like why you're not wanting to integrate her into your life. She's your wife. Y'all are married. Why hasn't she met your children yet? Why hasn't she met all of your family that was living in New York? You only let her meet one uncle. Like, what's really going on, Manuel? So in that aspect, I see where Ashley's coming from. But yeah, it's a whole lot. It's a mess between these two people. It's a hot mess. Moving on now to, let's talk about Thais and Patrick. So it's the next day of them being in Brazil, and it is Thais's 27th birthday. So they wake up that morning. Patrick went out to get her some flowers and some cake, etc., etc. So then later on, they meet up with Thais's father, Carlos. Now, keep in mind that when Thais first came to the United States, she lied to her father as far as why she was coming to the United States. She didn't tell her father anything about getting married to Patrick and becoming, trying to apply for her citizenship. Didn't tell her father any of that. I think she told her father that she was in the United States to work. So she lied to her father for a very long time as far as like where she was and why she was here, all of that. So Patrick had to go along with Thais and keep the whole entire relationship a secret, okay? So the father, Carlos, is upset that Patrick never came to him as a man to ask for Thais's hand in marriage and for the father to bless the marriage or to bless the wedding or whatever the hell. So the father is still stuck on that. So when they meet up with the father, he gets to meet his grandbaby. Okay. So they introduce him to the grandbaby. And then, Patrick says to his father-in-law, well, now that I have a daughter, I see exactly how you feel about Thais. And, Carlos says, so you understand how I felt when you kidnapped my daughter out of Brazil. And I'm like, okay, Carlos, we're putting 20 on 10. Okay, he did not kidnap a damn person. Your daughter was being fast and loose, and she wanted to go with Patrick. She wanted to go and sneak around behind your back and do all this stuff without you knowing. She was a very much willing participant in all of this. So while they're sitting at the table and they're talking about all of this, the father was like, well, you never came to me, man to man to let me know what your intentions were with my daughter and all. It's like he's still stuck in the past about what all the stuff that Patrick didn't do and trying to be upfront about, his intentions with Thais. And I'm thinking to myself, you need to talk to your daughter, Carlos, because your daughter was the one that was telling Patrick, don't tell my father that I'm here, that we're going to be getting married. Don't tell my father until I'm ready to talk to him. Because I think, if I can remember correctly, and let me know if I'm wrong, I think Patrick wanted to be upfront with Carlos. From the very beginning, he wanted to be upfront with Carlos and be like, hey, I want to marry your daughter. This is what's going on. And it was Thais who was like, oh my God, don't tell him until I'm ready to tell him. And Patrick had to force her to make that call to her dad, to tell her dad the truth about what was really going on. So when the father was confronting Patrick, like, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And Thais is just sitting there, like she's watching tennis, like watching, the two men talk to each other, her head moving back and forth. I was like highly disgusted by Thais. She should have been woman enough and adult enough to be like, you know what? Don't be so hard on him, because I was the one that was letting him, like, I told him that I wanted to keep all of this a secret from you. I told him to not tell you. I didn't want him to tell you anything about what was going on until I was ready to tell you. But no, she just sat there silently, allowing her father to put all this heat on her husband. And Patrick tried to defend himself and said, your daughter didn't really want to tell you what we were really doing. We had to keep our relationship a secret from you. And the father just kind of like brushed over all of that. He was like, okay, whatever, but she didn't ask me for my blessing. So he still is wanting Patrick to ask for his blessing. And Patrick was like, I don't feel comfortable asking him for his blessing because it's going to not be genuine. It's not going to be coming from my heart because he's telling me to do that. Plus, on top of all of that, we are already married. We have a kid together. Like, what is the point of asking for his blessing after the fact? So instead, Patrick is like, I just want to gain his trust and I want to gain his respect. And that's only going to happen by me and him spending time together and him getting to know me and him beginning to understand that I am taking really good care of his daughter and his granddaughter. When is John coming? Because all of this woulda, shoulda, coulda, what could have happened in the past is boring me to death. I don't really care about none of that. When is John going to show up to start making these people interesting again? Moving on to Lauren and Alexi. So it's the day of the surgery. That particular morning, they have to get the kids ready to take them to daycare. And so Lauren is getting her children ready and, saying goodbye to her kids. And she's getting really, really emotional because she's not going to see her kids for a few days while she's undergoing surgery and, that initial recovery right after surgery. And she's thinking about how once she comes back home, she's not going to be able to pick up her kids. So she's getting really emotional. You know how dramatic Lauren is. So she's getting very emotional and she's crying and all this and that. And And girl, like, what's real? You decided to do all of this. This is an elective surgery. I could feel sorry for her if she had to have surgery because, you know, for medical reasons, like something was wrong with her and she needed surgery. But the fact that she's choosing to do this, and another thing, Lauren. And I understand she's got body dysmorphia. She doesn't see what we see when she looks in the mirror. She sees somebody who is, you know, grotesquely overweight and, you know, morbidly obese and ugly and lumpy and all. That's what she sees. We don't see that. I see a very cute young woman who looks fantastic for having 3 children practically back to back. She looks amazing to me. I think that if she did really put an effort in exercising, even though she claims that she has exercised herself to death and she's not seeing any changes, but I think if she really put an effort, like if she hired a trainer and really took her exercising and her toning seriously, she can achieve exactly what she wants without the surgery. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just my personal opinion. When I look at her body, it doesn't look like it's impossible for her to achieve the look that she wants, but whatever. So she is, you know, crying about leaving her kids and all this and that, even though she's electing to do this, because she's got body dysmorphia. And Alexi, he doesn't like it, but he ain't got no damn choice. You know what I'm saying? She's going to do what she wants to do because she's stubborn. So he doesn't have a choice, doesn't have a say, so he just has to go with the flow, even though to him, she's perfect in every way. So Lauren feels like she'll accept herself better. She'll accept herself as a person if she looks the way she thinks that she should look physically. And I'm thinking that's never going to happen. You will never look the way you think you should look because you're always going to see flaws, because the human body is naturally flawed. You're going to see flaws all the time. So I'm hoping that she's done having kids, because if they have another baby, we're going to be right back to square one where she's not happy with her body and she's going to want to get more surgery. Alexi even said, you know, I hope this is going to be it and she's not going to want to have more surgery. Like, what happens when you start getting wrinkly? Lauren, you're sucking out all the fat right now to give you a slimmer figure, but your body is still going to wrinkle. It's going to age. What happens then? Like, I don't understand. So they're at the hospital, and the doctor starts making all the marks on her body of where they're going to make all the incisions. And she's there, like, you know, like in her underwear. And I'm looking at her body, and to me, y'all, I know she's got body dysmorphia, but to me, I was like, girl, you're messing with something that's practically perfect. In her mind, it's not perfect. She sees a lot of flaws, and I'm like, damn, girl. If you look at yourself and you're that unhappy, you will never be happy. If you're looking at what we're seeing, you will never be happy with your body. You will never be happy. So anywho, so they start marking on her, and they marked underneath her chin as well. And I was like, well, she didn't mention that to us, that she's going to get the fat sucked out of underneath her chin. I didn't know she was going to do that too, because she only talked about how she's got this pouch around her lower abdomen because, you know, of all the babies that she's had, and it's really loose and flabby and she can never get it to tighten up. I don't think Lauren has put a lot of effort in really working on her body. But anyways, so she talked about that. She talked about getting rid of all the excess, I don't know what, because to me the girl is like 0 body fat. But she's also going to get rid of the stuff under her chin. Okay. Anywho, so I'm watching this and I'm just thinking about DC Youngfly, you know, that comedian whose very beautiful girlfriend and the mother of his children ended up passing away because, and I understand she got her surgery done in another country, so the protocol was probably completely different over there, and she did not get the care that she needed. Plus, she was there by herself, so her recovery, she was going through it alone. There was nobody there to help her. So that's completely different. Okay, I understand that that's different because Lauren is in America and she has a husband to help her with her post-surgery recovery. But still, I kept thinking about how these two women looked at themselves and saw nothing but ugliness and felt like, you know, going under the knife was going to fix all that. Lauren, what you're doing is fine, okay? But you need to get therapy to deal with your body dysmorphia so that you stop having these procedures done. This is going to be the final time that you do this because you have body dysmorphia. This needs to be the final time that you do this, and you need to work on your body dysmorphia issues. You need to work on that more than anything else. You need to work on that. Moving on to Jasmine and Gino. So it's Jasmine's birthday, and Gino is trying to make it all romantical. He's in the bathroom because they're still staying with Leandro, which is Jasmine's friend in Miami. So he's in the bathroom getting the bubble bath ready, and she's walking around in her bra and underwear because she's about to get dressed, and he wants to have like a really romantic moment in the bath with her. And so he brings her into the bathroom and he tries to seduce her or entice her with his hairy toes, because Jasmine likes to suck on toes. So he's thinking that he is seducing her or whatever by wiggling his hairy knuckled toe fingers in front of her face, but she's not having it because she understands that he's just trying to get her pregnant and she doesn't want to have a baby. So she's like, no, we gotta hurry up because they have a plan to go see the alligators that day. So she's like, oh, we don't have time for this, we have to hurry up and go see the alligators. Jasmine has this very weird obsession and fascination with alligators. They're her favorite animals. There was an alligator back in Panama that she fell in love with that she actually named Sneaky. So she's just all excited about seeing the alligator. She ain't got no time to be having sex with Gino right now. So they go to the place, to the swamp area where the guy's going to give them like a tour of the swamp area to see alligators or whatever. And, so they're looking at the alligators. Jasmine then tells Gino that because she's suffering from depression, now she says that she's depressed because of her alopecia. Her alopecia has been really bad lately, and missing her children and the whole immigration process with her kids has gotten her in a slump. So her friend Leandro has suggested to her, well, why don't you do a beauty pageant? That's going to lift your confidence. So she decided to go ahead and do that. So now she's telling Gino while they're on the boat in the swamp, she's telling Gino all about it. And Gino's like, yeah, that's a great idea. So she's like, oh, Gino, I didn't even think that you wanted me to even do this. I'm glad that you're supporting me. So she thinks that if she does this beauty pageant thing, she's going to be able to, lift up her confidence and whatever else. Gino's like, you'd be a perfect beauty pageant contestant because you're very fit because of all the surgery. You're very fit and you blah, blah, blah. You're beautiful. So I think so too. I think Jasmine would do well in a beauty pageant. I think she may even place. I don't know if she's going to win, but she may even place. She does have that beauty pageant look about her. So yeah, I'm in support of it too. It's going to be fun to watch her do that if she's really going to go through with it. And, Gino thinks that if her confidence is lifted by doing this beauty pageant, she's going to be more inclined to have a baby. Little does he know that Jasmine's baby making days are way, way, way behind her. She's way past that and she's not interested. So this is just a build up for next week's episode when she finally tells them once and for all that she does not want to have any more children. This is a discussion that should have been had way before they got married. Now, if Jasmine lied to Gino and made him believe that she was willing to have babies before he married her, he should divorce her. He should divorce her for for lying to him. And what's the word I'm looking for? Not misguiding, basically for lying to him and for deceiving him. He's completely divorced this woman if she made you feel like or made you believe that she was willing to have children with you, and now she's telling you she did the old switcheroo. Now she's telling you I don't want to have any kids, and that's that. You need to divorce her, because if that's important to Gino, he should have that opportunity to have a child, his own biological child. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Moving on to Sophie and Rob. So they're at the damn flea market looking at some damn crystals. I don't know, for whatever reason, because I wasn't paying attention, they felt inclined to tell the old man selling the crystals about all their relationship problems. And I forgot what he told them. Maybe he told them they can solve their issues with some damn crystals. I don't know. Moving on from there. Sophie is FaceTiming her mom. She's telling her mom that she's moved in with Rob. Her mom did not know. She's been keeping this from her mom because she was scared to tell her mother that she had moved back in with Rob. And so she finally tells her, I'm back with Rob. We're living together again. And the mom is like, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean you moved back in with Rob? And Sophie's like, Mom, relax, calm down. He is my husband. Okay, we're husband and wife, so just relax. We're supposed to be living together. So then they talk about how she talks about how she's been really struggling with trusting Rob again because of his online cheating in the past. And what made it even worse was that she thinks that he might have a second phone. So then they flash back to a scene where her and Rob are in bed and a phone goes off. And it's not her phone. He says it's not his phone. The camera crew in the room are like, it's not mine. It's not mine. It's nobody's phone, but there's this phone that's going off somewhere, and it's connected to the Bluetooth. So when they're answering the voicemail, the outgoing voicemail message turns on, it's actually, wasn't it Rob's voice that said, thank you for calling Rob. I can't answer your phone right now. Please leave him. Wasn't that Rob's voice? And Rob was acting like all flabbergasted, like, I don't know what's going on. That's not my phone. I don't know what's going on. And so she's telling her mom all of this. And Sophie's like, I don't understand, whose phone that was and where that was coming from. And her mom was like, Soph, that was Rob's whole phone. He's got a whole phone, girl. That's his second phone. And so she's determined to try to find this phone. So she's like, I'm not going to confront him with this whole issue with the second phone until I know for sure that he has a second phone. And the mom is like, well, if it was me, I would have found that phone in 15 minutes because I have no idea why she started to look. Maybe she looked at, because he has a shelf. There's like a bookshelf. And all of his spiders are in these glass boxes. And they're on this bookshelf. And that's where she starts looking first. Maybe she's thinking because he knows that she has this fear of spiders. He was thinking, well, she's never going to look here for my second phone because of all my spiders. So maybe that's why she went to go look there first. So she was looking over there behind the spiders. Didn't see a phone, or she didn't look hard enough. I don't know. Either way, she's not going to confront him about it now until she knows for sure that he has a second phone. But I'm like, if you heard his voice on the outgoing message, doesn't that confirm that he has a second phone? I was confused, y'all. Was that his voice or did I imagine that? I don't know. So, she's still having trust issues with him and this online cheating and all this other stuff. Okay, y'all. I don't think I have anything else to add about Rob and Sophie other than their marriage is getting off to a very rocky start, and neither one of them is going to change their ways. So yeah, maybe this marriage isn't going to work. I don't know what else to say. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.